Hey first graders, hope you guys are all doing well and had a great weekend. It's so nice to see you all again. Today we are going to be switching it up a little bit. The past couple weeks you have been reading a lot of fiction, and I'm sure at home you've been reading a lot of fiction books too. So today we're actually going to read two short nonfiction texts. They're really cool articles that I found online. And remember, when we read texts that are nonfiction, there's going to be some information that we learn that are facts. So remember, nonfiction is when we read about factual information. Sometimes they might have text features, but these articles don't have too many. They just have a photograph to go along with our information that we read today. So in texts, in these texts today, we're going to read about two different problems that people have faced, and then we're going to find out how people have solved them. So I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to think about a time that you had a problem. Maybe it was in school, maybe it was at home, maybe it was with a friend. But when you had that problem, what did you do to figure it out and solve it? Take a second to think about that. Remembering information that you already know about problems and how they're solved will help you get your brains ready for the details we're going to read today. So what I want you guys to do is take a look at our learning goal for today. As we're reading today, take a look at what we're going to focus on. I can recognize problem and solution in order to describe the connection between ideas. So you might have heard these words when you guys have been learning about fiction, but when we are reading today, we're going to recognize, or in other words, we're going to find the problem. And remember, the problem is what goes wrong. And the solution is how the problem is fixed or solved. So we're going to be able to find what went wrong and how they solved that in order to describe the connection between the ideas. So that's how the problem and the solution, how they go together and they are connected. All right, so when we're reading today, we're looking for the problem and the solution. The first text we're going to read today is called Safer Sidewalks. So take a look at that photograph because we know sometimes nonfiction texts have photographs. So when I'm looking at that photograph, I wonder, what is that silver thing that people are standing on? And then I'm also looking at the title, which is called Safer Sidewalks, and I'm thinking to myself, how aren't sidewalks safe? Why aren't they safe? Let's read to see if we can find out what the problem and the solution is. A curb is where a sidewalk meets a street. A curb ramp is a slope in the sidewalk. Curb ramps help people who use wheelchairs. A wheelchair can roll up or down the ramp. The person can safely cross the street. The wheelchair will not fall over. Sometimes curb ramps can be dangerous, however. The ramps make the sidewalk level with the street. People who are blind may not know they are on a ramp. They might walk into a busy street. Inventors thought about making a better curb ramp. They added a bumpy plastic covering to existing curb ramps. People who are blind can feel the bumps. Those people will know they are on a ramp. Wheelchairs can safely roll down the ramp too. Now curb ramps help everyone. Oh, so I was wondering before what that silver thing that people were standing on. It's the curb ramp with the bumpy plastic covering so people will know they're on a ramp. That's pretty creative. So we know when we were reading today, we were looking for both the problem and the solution. In this text, I found out what was wrong. When I go back and I'm thinking about what was wrong with sidewalks, because we know that was our topic, they said that sometimes curb ramps can be dangerous. People who are blind might not know they're on a ramp and they might walk into a busy street. So that's a pretty big problem. So what I'm going to show you is a way that we can organize our ideas. So when we're reading our problem, we can type our problem right here. We know our problem is that curb ramps can be dangerous. All right, so how did people solve that problem about curb ramps being dangerous? Let's go back and find out. Well, we know they thought about making a better curb ramp. Oh, remember they added a bumpy plastic covering to existing curb ramps. Oh, so that's the way they solved that problem. And remember, this was done so people can feel the bumps. Remember, if they're blind, they can't see, but they can use their sense of touch. So that way people know that they're on a ramp and it would be a little bit more safe for people. So I'm going to go back here. Our solution that curb ramps can be dangerous is that inventors added a bumpy, bumpy plastic cover to the curb ramp, right? And we know they did this that way people could feel that they were on a curb ramp and they wouldn't be in danger anymore. That's a pretty good solution to that problem. All right, we're going to read one more short article, and now I want you to see if you can be a detective and find the problem and the solution in this article. And this article is called Keeping Bears Out. Take a look at that photograph. Is there anything that you're wondering before reading this article? Go ahead and pause and whisper into your hand or whisper to somebody next to you. What are you wondering before we read this article? I'm sure you had great questions. Some things I was wondering where bears are. And I'm also wondering, where do people need to keep them out of? We don't really see many bears around here, so I'm curious where they need to keep bears out of. So what I want you guys to do, remember, keep your eye out for the problem and the solution. Wild bears live in many U.S. national parks. People visit the parks. People bring food when they camp out. Hungry bears smell the food. They want to eat the food. Bears look for leftover food in trash cans. Bears look for food at people's campsites. This is a problem for people. Park workers are trying to solve this problem. Workers have put out special garbage cans. The bears cannot break into the cans. Workers tell park visitors to use special boxes for their food. The boxes are metal. People must lock them. Bears cannot get into the boxes. All right, so now that we've read that second article, I actually heard some key words jumping out at us while we were reading, and I hope you heard them too. Now that we've read this second article together, I have a challenge that I want you to try. I'm going to ask you to tell me the problem and the solution in this article, just like we found in the first. All right, then you can post your answers in the discussion page right underneath where you found this link for this video. Remember, if you need, you can go back and re-listen to this article or reread it yourself if you want, so you can find the problem and the solution. In case you need to draw one of these at home, here's a little organizer to help you organize your thoughts before you write it down if you need. You can draw this right on a piece of paper at home. You can use an easel at home. Whatever you have, you can use it in order to help write your thoughts down. All right, so once you find the problem and the solution, I want to hear what you found in the discussion post below where you found this link. I can't wait to see your responses. And if you answer me, I'll respond back to you. Happy reading.